Hey everybody, so I recorded a video last week and it seemed to strike a nerve. You'll see it in the history entitled something like HMRC is coming to do checks, and it came out of an article written in the Times where it talked about how high net worths are being more and more targeted by HMRC, and HMRC had quite a good tax take from that campaign. As a result, they're looking to recruit more tax inspectors. I think further 400 are going to be recruited to try and target and get more tax out of existing taxpayers in the UK. And the angle was that, and that video was just saying, it's a matter of time before that trickles down and they go after more people, more businesses, etc., etc. Didn't mean to scaremonger there. I just think it's the way things are going to go because, the government, they can't push taxes much higher. I think they will try. There's only so much they can push it from here now, really, before businesses just go pop. So they haven't got much wiggle room left there. So what they do is maybe just go, right, well, let's make sure that the existing rules are being applied correctly, and let's make sure that every business is playing by the rules, etc., etc. And I think, I like to think the majority are, but there will be certain things that people just don't know about, and that's the point I'm trying to make, is that, certainly my clients and certainly the bigger firm clients, they're well advised. They know what they can and can't do, these businesses, especially scale up companies, typically ones I deal with. They're looking towards an exit, they're looking towards some sort of sale in the future, so they've got to stay squeaky clean, do all the right things, and make sure that they're just ticking all the boxes, so to speak. And a lot of other businesses, just general businesses who might have a bookkeeper or something, just might not know what they're doing. And case in point, just this weekend, I heard a restaurant, and I heard some people speaking next to me, where someone said, "Oh yeah, I've got this freelancer who works for me. Yeah, she's full time, and no contract in place, and she'll never leave, and da 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 da. I don't even know how to open my computer. I don't even know what the passwords are to certain bits of the programs we use. She does it all. She's brilliant. Da 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 da." And my head, I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, there's so much that can possibly go wrong here. Not just tax, just general business running sort of thing. Having some person who's in your business got no contract, therefore IP related, all the stuff she's doing within the business, there's no contract to say the IP belongs to the business. She can walk off with it. The fact she's got all the passwords, no systems in place, the fact that if she walks, there's no contingency plan as to what's going to happen to the customers and clients, etc. If this particular freelancer goes. So all the kind of systems and processes around that to get in place to make sure that you've got a robust business that can withstand things like this happening, because it does happen. People always leave. Never expect people to stay. They will always leave. The best will in the world. You may be the most wonderful boss, leader, whatever you are running your business. People will find circumstances change, whatever, and they will leave. So that's all kind of going on my head. And then it's like she's working full time as a freelancer. IR35, scream, pay as you earn, but it should be applied here because she's a pseudo employee. She's got, by sounds of things, and I don't know this person, I've only heard a snippet of a conversation, but this freelancer works for a full time, by all accounts. So doesn't have any other customers. This freelancer has to freelance too. So there's suggestion there that she's basically an employee. The badges of trade, she's what's she using in terms of her tools. It sounds like she's using this person's computer, this computer software. She sounds like she's under the control and supervision of this person. So it sounds very much like an employee relationship here, in which case there should be PAYE being applied. There should be a contract in place, employment contract, which in the long run, it's better for this particular person running the business to get these things in place, because at least then they've got A, the IP's kind of tied up right. B, you've got notice conditions in place, so they can't just leave you in the lurch and walk off one day. You've got things around privacy, again, dealing with customers and all the kind of GDPR type stuff as well. You'll think about it's probably not been taken into account. So it kind of sounds nice to run this sort of casual sort of business, but you've got to sort of get it stuck in and tick all the boxes and make sure you don't have to go to the kind of full extent of a FTSE 100 company in terms of layers of management and corporate governance, but you certainly have to have those basics in place. So I kind of sit there thinking, and these are the sorts of things where I'm thinking, businesses just don't know often, unless they've got an accountant or they're sort of watching this sort of thing to know about the things they should be doing. People would start businesses, and I think more and more people will start businesses. I think as things move on, I think more and more people get laid off from jobs. They're going to start a business, and the risk is they just don't know what they should and shouldn't be doing. And I think my point in that video about the HMRC challenge, I think, is HMRC will have a field day because a lot of people just simply don't know what they can and can't do. And that's, I think, the real crux. It's not kind of draconian tax laws or something really clever. Or perhaps it's not that I'm saying the companies are trying to evade tax. Companies often just don't know what they're doing wrong. Another classic point I see quite often is, this whole thing of team building in a business, so like taking people out, your team out for lunches and drinks on a Friday night and pizzas and let's go bowling and team building, great. And that is great from a team building perspective. Let's just assume you've all got employment contracts in place, you've got all the things right, and that's all set up correctly. You've got a more kind of formalised business here. But just taking people out for drinks regularly and lunches and dinners and things is taxable from HMRC's perspective. They see that as a jolly. They see that's a kind of, it's remuneration in another form. You're taking them out for dinner. They're not paying for that dinner. It's being paid for by the business. And therefore, I'm assuming there's no clients present at this, no customers or clients, but just pure team. There's an annual exemption limit. You can have 150 quid, I think, whatever it is right now. It's nothing for Christmas parties and that sort of thing. But what I'm talking about here is people just don't realise that HMRC would look at that if they did a PAYE inspection and say, well, what are you doing? Are you taking them out for dinner like once a month, drinks, etc. included, beers, wine, whatever? That's taxable on the employees. That should be a benefit in kind for them. Now there are various things around that, like voluntary settlements and things, but you sort of, that's a classic point where you just don't know. You think you're doing the right thing. You are looking after your team. You're doing all the right things, yet HMRC come along and they're like, nah, take a different view of it, and HMRC are really right on the rules. You shouldn't be doing that. You can't do that. So minor point, but a point, if you know what I mean. There's 1,000 of these. The tax code is like, you can't see how high my hands will go in terms of all the rules that apply in the UK. Love it or hate it, that's where we are. And it's just a matter of trying to play by those rules and make sure that you do the right thing as a business owner. So that's kind of the aim of this channel, really, to try and sort of educate a bit in terms of what you can and can't do when you're scaling up your business. But I hope that's kind of useful. So, and that's what I wanted to clarify about that video before. I wasn't trying to scaremonger in terms of saying that everyone's dodgy and people are doing all the wrong things. I think a lot of businesses are well-meaning, and the majority are well-meaning, but they will do things sometimes they don't realise falls foul of the rules, because sometimes the rules are so obscure, and often tax rules have got no logical sense whatsoever. Don't try to apply logic often to tax rules. Some of them are just absolutely bonkers, but they are what they are, and HMRC come along and they'll apply them quite happily. So that's where my thinking is with that, and I hope you found that useful, and thanks for watching. Take care.